Hi students, I wanted to give you a brief overview of how to use Google Drive and the different things that in Google Drive that you can use, Google Docs, Google Presentations. They're really great for when you're working on group projects. Some of you might be familiar with it already, but for those of you who are not, I just wanted to give a quick video tutorial for you. So the very first thing you need to do to access a Google Drive is go to your student email. Now you would click on this via your student email in the Students tab right here. I'm going to go to mine, which of course is under the Employees tab, but they'll look about the same. Once your email comes up, the way you would access Google Drive is through this little box of boxes, I like to call it. It's kind of the universal sign for apps. If you click on that, you'll see all the apps that are available to you through your student Gmail account. On that note, it is important for you to use your student Gmail account if you're going to be working with other students, because their email addresses will automatically populate in the system. And if you're using your own personal one, that won't happen. So always use your student Gmail account. So you'll click on Drive. Now mine is going to look a little different than yours because I've been using Drive. You probably have a note that says download to your desktop. You don't need to do that. Just click on no thank you or not right now. I can't remember exactly what it says. But if you have been using Drive, you might see a list of things in your Drive. If you haven't, it'll be empty. This area will be empty. But you'll notice that Google Drive looks a lot like a flash drive would, where you can have folders, you can have documents, and those sorts of things. One of the things that you want to make sure that you do is I always like to make folders for my particular classes. As you can see right here, I have Reading 091, CRE 101. And the best way to start with that is to create by clicking on Create over on the left-hand side, and then Create Folder. You can name this folder, and I'll just name it Test Class, and create it. And it'll show up at the top. You can populate this. You can organize this based on last modified or owner. I always do last modified because I like the stuff that I work on to pop up at the top. You'll notice that it also showed up over here in my list of folders, which is a fast way to access just the folder that you need. So here's my test class, and if I click on that, you'll notice there's nothing in there. You can drop files. You can also do things to this folder. You can change the color, which I like to do to make it more easily accessible so I can see the colors. Now, once you're in the folder, you can create different files. You can see that you have a bunch of different options. You can create a document, which I will do first, which is fairly simple. Once you create a document, it opens up a new window. And you'll notice this looks a lot like Microsoft Word. It's very, very similar. One of the first things you want to do is click on where it says Untitled Document and give it a title, depending on what you're working on. Now that you have a title, you can create your document. I'll have you notice that as you type, you'll see that next to the Help button, it says Saving. It automatically saves every keystroke that you make. So this is a great thing because it's virtually impossible to lose your work. The nice thing about Google Drive is that you can access it anywhere. You don't have to have a flash drive anymore. As long as you have internet access, you can access your documents. It's a little different than Dropbox, which some of you might be familiar with, because Dropbox allows you to access your documents anywhere, but it doesn't let you create your documents in the Dropbox. It just allows you to save them there, whereas Google Drive allows you to create everything within the system. So that's how that's a little bit different. You can change the font. You can change the size, the font. You can change the color. Pretty much the basic Microsoft settings. Change the margins, change how you center it, justify it. You can bullet things. You can do all sorts of different things. Just an FYI, Google Drive does work best from Google Chrome, the browser Google Chrome. It will not have all of its functionality, especially when you get to some of the other, like Google Presentations, that it needs to have if you're in any other browser. So keep that in mind. So you can easily create your documents. It saves right away. When you're done, you don't have to do anything. You simply close the window, and there it is within your test class folder. You see it right there, test document. You open it back up, and it's exactly what you left. You can use this for creating documents as long as it's okay with your instructor, for creating your assignments that you need to turn in, because Canvas allows you to submit Google Docs as part of the submission requirements. So one thing though that you have to do when you're submitting, and this is always a good rule of thumb, that the very first thing you're going to do to any document or any presentation that you're going to be submitting in Canvas to your instructor is you want to click on the share button, and you'll notice it says private only to me. Well, you're going to need to change that, because if you submit this shareable link into Canvas as it stands, your instructor will not be able to open it, and sometimes you might get a 0 for that, so you don't want to do that. So what you'll do is you'll click on share, you'll click on advanced, and you'll notice it says private, only you can access. You need to change that, and you need to click on anyone with link, so that when you provide Canvas that link, it then provides the link to your instructor in Canvas, and that instructor can grade it. And you'll click save, and then you'll be good. What you do not want to do is type your instructor's email address in this box, because all that will do is send them an email and giving them access, but it will not give them access to it in Canvas. So please be aware of that. So good rule of thumb, anytime you're making a document, very first thing you should do is go to the share button, change it to anyone with link can view, because they're just going to view it. They're going to grade it into Canvas. And then you can take this link and copy it into Canvas, and I'm going to show you an example of that. So I happen to have an assignment open here in Canvas. You would go to Submit Assignment, you would click on Website URL, and you would paste that URL right in there and click Submit. Now I'm not going to do it because this is just a student view from my Canvas, but that's in essence how you would submit your assignment in Canvas. There are many other things that you can do in Google Drive as well. I'm going to close out of this and go back to my folder and create a presentation. I use presentation with my students all the time, because how many times have you had to work on a PowerPoint presentation with a group and then you have to copy and paste everything together and it doesn't really look like one solid presentation? Well, gone are the days of that. You can now work on these assignments, and you can do this with any type of document in Google Drive, a document, a presentation, a spreadsheet, anything. You can share it with certain classmates and work on it all at the same time. So when you click on presentation, you then have to choose a background. Now there aren't as many as there are in Microsoft Office PowerPoint, so just be aware of that. And there are some workarounds to that, but for our purposes, we're just going to choose one of these. And you click your background or your theme, and it's going to create your themed presentation. Now you have the same sort of abilities just as you do in PowerPoint. You can create your slides. You add more slides by clicking on this little plus button. You can change the layout of the slides if you want it to look a little bit different. You can change the theme if you need to. There are transitions. You can change the transitions to fade. There aren't as many options. Nothing's truly fancy, but it gets the job done. And then you can type on these just like you would, and once again, it's saving, saving, saving. Always we want to give it a title, because you cannot share it until you title it. So you would give it a title. Click OK. Now, you're going to share this in two different ways. If this is a presentation that you're going to be turning in Canvas, you again need to go to the Share button, go to the Advanced button, change the access to anyone with link, and click Save. But if you're working with a group, you're also going to want to individually invite people to be able to edit this document. So in order to do that, you would click on where it says Invite People. Notice this drop-down list: Can edit, can comment, can view. you're going to start typing in the names of the people in your group. Now, sometimes more than one person on this campus has the same name, so it's actually probably better if you type in their MEIDs. So you can type in, and I'm just going to choose my division chair, but you'll notice how it populates the people on campus. It'll do that with the students as well, and you choose the person you want to send it to. The person will then get an email notifying them that they now have access and can edit this document. So one person has to create the document in the group, just like I'm the owner right now. And then what will happen after that is that you will invite people, and then those people will go to their email and click on the email that they get, and then they will have access and it will show up in their drive. So I'm not going to actually send that, but that's how you would share this with people, so that they can work on it at the same time you are working on it. But again, if you're going to submit it in Canvas, you'll use this link. And you can play with that a little bit. You can do transitions with the insert, or animations, excuse me. You can animate just like you would in Microsoft PowerPoint. You can insert images, all the same things that you can do with PowerPoint. One other thing that you can do, if you don't like any of the backgrounds that you have access to, you can also upload PowerPoint presentations to Google Drive and store them there. You can also upload any type of Word documents. Before you do that, though, you need to come to your settings and change a couple settings, and click on this Upload Settings, and you're going to want to convert uploaded files to docs format. That might be checked, it might not be checked. You need to make sure it's checked before you move forward with uploading. And I'll show you how you do that. So you get into the folder that you want. I'm still in my test class folder. You click on this little button right here, Upload. And you can upload files or folders. I'm going to upload a file. And I'm going to go to my flash drive. And I'm going to find a PowerPoint. And I'm going to upload this CRE 101 illuminated text student example. Actually, I take that back. I'm going to do this Themes in Life of Pi 1. I'm going to click on it, and it's going to upload. It's converted it to a presentation. It's finishing, and as soon as you see it, you'll see it right there. Notice it's not a P. What will happen is that's the symbol for PowerPoint over in the uploads, but once it's converted, that's the symbol for presentation. So we can close that, and then I can open that right up in my presentation. Now you'll see it gave me the background that I had in my original PowerPoint. If you want to do that, you can, and then you can add just a blank one and add to it, then continue to work on it. Continue to hit the add slide, and it'll add a whole new slide. And it knows the background to use. So you can do that if you choose to. Those are just some of the overviews of how to use Google Drive. It really is one of those things that you have to kind of play with. So I hope you have learned something from this presentation, and good luck and have fun.